Look at Wheeler staring to the right side, knows who's there, drop pass behind. Could be the deepest shot we've seen Caitlin Clark make as a pro. Big one.
Caitlin Clark makes her WNBA regular season debut with the Indiana Fever, and it is not just any game. It is the first live sporting event streamed on Disney+. This May 14th matchup against the Connecticut Sun isn't just a personal milestone for Clark, but a significant moment for Disney+ as well. Today isn't just a debut. It's a major sporting event in sports broadcasting. And the question I have for you, Q, is how do you think that Caitlin Clark's presence in the WNBA will influence sports streaming on Disney+? And better question, what do you think that she'll do for her first WNBA game tonight against the Connecticut Sun?
I think, first off, to answer your second question first, I do expect her to impact the game as far as allowing her teammates to have the opportunity. Not only that, I do expect her to get her shots off and get comfortable and build up that confidence to become the eventual scoring champion. I think she's going to be with my predictions we talked about yesterday. As far as what she's going to do for the league, she's got potential MVP energy around her. Not saying this season, but in future seasons. Because for those MVP awards, it's not just who's the most valuable to their team. It's who's most valuable to the league. And if you can bring the league views, attention, and revenue, you can't put a price on that. So like how we talked about the other day, she's gonna improve the ticket sales. As you already see, they're already accommodating the women with the no more commercial flights. Yeah, so everything is actually geared to a positive direction for the WNBA.
Randy, would you want to chime in?
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I get it, future MVP. I understand that. But with some of the past MVPs, I feel as if she would have to get better defensively in order to, be in that conversation. Offensively, yeah, I can see her as a future scoring champ. I see her average during the first few games. I see her averaging like 16. As the season goes on and she gets a feel for the game better and a pace for the game better, at the professional level, I believe that average will go up, but I see her probably doing 16 to 18 or 16 to 20.
So on opening night, how many do you think she's dropping the net on opening night?
Opening night, 19.
19, not bad.
19,
Q, you got the number?
24.
25. So I'll give my take. I think she's going to go for 24 plus, 20-something plus. Just knowing her and seeing her competitive nature, she gets disappointed when she's not scoring 20. And that's good. Been trained like that. She's been raised like that. Ever since her college careers began, she's averaged 20 plus and she's averaged double-digit assists. And I don't think that she expects that. But what I do expect is for her to come out looking to pass the ball to her teammates, which I think is going to open up the floor for her. I expect that, we'll talk about this a little bit later with our predictions, but I expect a huge year out of Alyssa Smith. I expect a bigger year, especially coming from what we just saw from preseason out of Aaliyah Boston. So that each of them need to shoot the ball, especially Alyssa, especially Aaliyah. But for opening night predictions, I expect Caitlin to score at least 25 plus. And I expect her to get at least 7 assists. I also expect her to hit at least 3 or 4 threes. But I'll say this, she's going to have a really incredible matchup because the Connecticut Sun are not going to let up. You have DeWanna Bonner, you have Alyssa Thomas, who are both going to play on her full court. They both are two-way players, and they're arguably some of the greatest two-way players in the game. And it will only, if Caitlin's able to score 20 against them on her first professional game, she's not. You might be right. She might be a scoring champ. So if she is able to do that, which I'd be impressed with, and as a lot of vets in the W should be impressed with, that'll be something to see. Obviously the streaming rights are going to go crazy because you can watch the game on Disney Plus in addition to WNBA League Pass. So everybody's just going to be inheriting a new program of television, especially in the women's game.
To right off what you said with the Connecticut Sun, both those players are averaging like 1.8 blocks, or coming off a season where they were averaging 1.8 blocks, basically 2 blocks a game. So she's gonna have it's gonna be a tough matchup for her.
Yeah, absolutely. They're no slouches. And Connecticut was they're like right on the doorstep from winning. So they're I mean they're right there.
They're predicted to be, third in the league as a power ranking. So
exactly. And then the fact that she has to open up with them her first game is kind of we'll see. There, it's just gonna be a test, and that's what I'm saying. So with her, I already know that she's thinking in the back of her mind, I want to live up to this because she's just wired like that. I don't, she has really high expectations for herself, so I can just see that she's gonna be like, no, okay, I don't care who it is, they about to get this 20.
I like seeing that from her though. That high expectation, and that will and want to be better and produce. That's a good quality to see in any hooper. So hopefully during the off season she was putting in the work, so we can see that.
So speaking of work, that's funny. And speaking of hoopers, we're gonna shift gears to talking about some of the best opening night performances. So right here we have the Houston Comets. We couldn't just pick one of them. We had to pick all three for the simple fact that all three of them were great. Cheryl Swoops opened up opening night with a 29, 6, 7, and 6 steals game, in addition with a block. Cynthia Cooper scored the first 20-point game in WNBA history when she had 25 points, 1 block, 3 steals, 5 assists, and 8 rebounds. She shot 50% from the floor. In addition, Tina Thompson had a 20 double-double with 22 points and 12 rebounds and a steal. All three of them contributed well. I mean, if you want to, anything you guys want to say, please.
Cheryl Swoops, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Let's say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely is. And then just moving on, we're going to continue on. So we have we have Lisa Leslie, who also had a huge opening night game. Now she dominated with a 24 and 12 rebound game, 4 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks, 50% from the floor. If it wasn't for Candace Parker, I would have Lisa Leslie in my Mount Rushmore, but she's the next tier right next to it. But she is awesome as a player. And Lisa literally changed. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't see I don't know how many players that are dunking and just playing like her.
Dunking, having opportunities like growing up, I was probably like what, 5 when I seen Lisa Leslie on the screen, but like I didn't know women even play professional basketball until I seen Lisa Leslie do that.
And moving on with other pioneers of the game, we're going to speak about Maya Moore and Diana Taurasi. So I mentioned that Mount Rushmore. I have both of these players on mine. So Taurasi, obviously, all-time leading scorer in the W. Her and Maya Moore had a great opening night performance where they each had an incredible duel. This is something that they're going to be talking about for a minute. Maya had 27 and 10 in a W over Diana, who had 18 and 6. The Mercury, obviously, they lost this game 95-70.
I got a question.
The game misses you, Maya. Missed you.
Amen. You ain't lying about that, Q, at all. Where were you staying on, Randy?
34 points is more than work, boy. That's business.
About Elena Del Don, who had another great opening night performance. She had 31 points, so she was giving out business as well. 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, 4 blocks, and she's arguably one of the greatest players in the W's history. I mean, she had a route of the Indiana Fever, 95-72, and this was back in Chicago in 2015. I mean, you name it, she has it in her bag. She could dribble off. She was like a Breonna Stewart before Breonna Stewart.
Miss Fundamentals.
Miss Fundamentals is a good name. And I remember it sucks when she was saying she got burned out from the game, but she was that for a minute. She was that. From the White House to the hardwood. Join us as we cover in their latest exploits, in addition to Asia Wilson's new shoe deal. My question for you two is, what is next for the Las Vegas Aces as they continue their championship journey? And what are your thoughts on Asia's new shoe?
We were talking about this earlier. I think it's a great move that a lot of women are getting shoe deals, because at times the colorways that they're coming out with, like Breonna Stewart's colorway, is to a market that's untapped. And I just believe that, it's good for the game and it's healthy and it's good, it's good all around. Like for the kids growing up, you got to wear KDs, you had to wear certain shoes, but, for the young girls who are out here hooping, now they can wear Breonna Stewart's. They could wear Asia Wilson's. They could wear
Sabrina's.
Sabrina Ionescu's. Yeah.
And it's not just that; it's also that like a lot of these signature shoes are made for the athlete that they're marketing. They're geared around the shape of their foot and the bone structures of their foot. Um, and like even though men or women are similar, there's differences in us, and so it's good that they can have those kind of shoes where it's like a hooping shoe that's specifically geared or made towards. Not only that, it's just giving them an opportunity to have these young girls to look up, to have someone to look up to, like how I did when I had, got my first pair of Iris. And, going to your other question, we expect them to three-peat. We expect it, barring no injury. We expect them to three-peat and become that first team to
Yeah.
um, achieve that. I believe that I'm going to see them, create situations for themselves where they get past the complacency. Because, after, winning the title twice, you need some type of extra motivation. And sometimes that motivation comes from adversity of getting over that hump of, all right, this is not like the last two seasons. This is a new season, so we need to come prepared. I expect Becky Hammond to prepare all those girls.
Speaking in
Yeah.
preparation, I am prepared to watch Las Vegas, as Q just said, celebrate again. I have them as my picks for the championship. They're number one in the power rankings for obvious reason. They have the best player in basketball, Asia Wilson, two-way player. She has her new signature shoe dropping, which I'm obviously excited about as well. I mean, the fact that Las Vegas we're going to talk about them a little bit later, but they're stacked. They got Chelsea Gray, that's in the top 25, Kelsey Plum in the top 25. They got Alicia Clark off the bench, who's already won Sixth Man of the Year. Asia Wilson, who's number one in the top 25. I mean, you name it, they have it. They got a Becky Hammond who's played in the W. She's coached in the NBA. Like, they have every single resource available. They got a crowd that sells out. They have all of the support. I expect Asia tonight, though, against her first game, to score 20 and 10 at least. And she should be. I mean, she's not going to debut her new shoe, but she should be doing something along those lines, just because she has a new shoe coming on. There's a lot of buzz around her. So I expect her to really come out strong and to have a great game and to start the season with business as usual.
It's good to see that these companies are invested in these women, because it just means that the WNBA is hitting a new status, hitting a new expected status. Me and Randy have talked over the years, with shoe deals and other deals, like how we seen with the Skims, or released yesterday, with dozens of WNBA players with their modeling shoots. It just is all signs that things are trending upward for the league, which really kind of has been unfairly criticized, because a lot of people compare it to leagues that have existed for decades upon decades. But if you look at any league in their third decade of existing, most leagues were struggling. So it's good to see that it finally looks like the WNBA is breaking through a new ceiling.
Early look at potential frontrunners for the WNBA's most coveted awards this year: MVP, Rookie of the Year, so on and so forth, as we forecast who might take home these trophies this season. The question I want to ask to both of you is, who are your picks for this season's WNBA awards? Q, we could start with you.
All right, so for a Rookie of the Year, I originally had someone else, but just because I believe in her, based off everything she's shown, she's never failed. I'm going with Angel Reese as my Rookie of the Year. For Defensive Player and MVP of the season, I have Asia Wilson. For most improved and six man were the most trickiest for me, because it really comes down to who gets that starting nod and who doesn't. Uh, I have Shakira Austin for most improved. I think there's a couple players; those are going to be like some of the closest battle. For six man, I have Kalani Brown. I picked her over Dejanay just because I do think Dejanay is going to get that starting nod over her. For Coach of the Year, I have Miss Becky Hammond. For rebounding, I have Alyssa T. For assists, I have Courtney Vandersloot. And for my all WNBA team, I have Alyssa, Asia, Brianna Stewart, Jewel Lloyd, and Sabrina Inosuke.
Good man. Brandon, you got you up? You want me to share?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go.
So for me as MVP, I believe it's going to be Asia Wilson. She has that superstar personality, that aura. Angel Reese has she has that personality, and she's also a hooper. She can hoop. She's a competitor, and that 3-time, I believe she's chasing it. And so I have her as MVP, Rookie of the Year. I have it as Caitlin Clark, Defensive Player of the Year. I also have it as Asia Wilson. Again, she has a point to prove. Coming out of left field, I would say if she doesn't get it, watch out for Brittany Griner, coming off injury, having another player with a chip on the shoulder. Most improved, I had difficulty with 6-man, like you said. I have most improved as Dejanay Carrington, and 6-man of the year as Kalani Brown. I believe they both will come out shooting. A lot of these players, man, just as coach of the year, I have Sandy Brondello from the New York Liberty. She has all the pieces, and as number 2, you always are gunning for that number 1 spot. So I'm not saying expect something crazy, but expect something solid. As all-time scoring, I have Arike
Ogunbowale.
Yeah, I have her. She's been shooting at a high clip. She has that ball on the string, and I expect nothing else different from her. Yeah, that's a yo-yo to her, man. It's coming right back. It's coming right back. Watch her walk this. As a rebound, I have Jonquel Jones from the New York Liberty, and assist, I have Alyssa Thomas. And nice. For my All-NBA, it's Brianna Stewart, Miss Arike Ogunbowale, Nneka Ogumake, and Asia Wilson, followed by Jewel Lloyd.
Okay, nice. All right, so I'll share mine. So we share a lot of the ones that are similar. My MVP pick is a complete surprise. I am not going chalk. I am picking Ryan Howard from the Atlanta Dream. I believe that this is her 3rd year, and she is going to take another jump, and she is going to propel Atlanta. I don't want to say hopefully in the finals, but I think that they're going to compete better than they did last year. And I think because of what they're doing in Atlanta is going to propel her into MVP status. She is the engine behind that team, in addition to Alicia Gray, who I also mentioned too. But she is the engine of that team. They move as she moves, and I expect big things out of her this year. Moving forward, so that was my pick for MVP. My pick for Rookie of the Year, obviously, Caitlin Clark, the bombshell who can shoot from anywhere on this court. Obviously, she is the media favorite. She is the Clark effect. She is et cetera, so on and so forth. Caitlin will absolutely transform the Indiana Fever into a potential playoff team. Right now, she's 3rd in MVP voting and MVP odds. And this is as a, again, 22-year-old rookie, never playing her first professional game. There are incredible expectations for her throughout the roof. And I believe that she will live up to most of them, if not all of them. So my pick for Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm not going to hang on this too long. In addition to my rebounding champ, that is Asia Wilson. And because she's going to win the rebounding title, she will also win Defensive Player of the Year. Now, obviously, most GMs, we're going to talk about that. Most GMs picked Asia to win the MVP and the DPOY, which we'll see if she can do that for another time again. She's already done it. So that's just really interesting to see. My most improved, I have Nalissa Smith from the Indiana Fever. I believe that if Nalissa doesn't make the WNBA All-Star team this year, I'm not going to say it was a failure, but she has that type of potential where she needs to be in the All-Star game representing the Fever with Aaliyah and with Caitlin. There you go. I'm prematurely saying that both of them will also make it. But I believe that Nalissa will win most improved, especially because her scoring ability, she could shoot. She's doing better with her 3-pointers over the preseason. All she needs to do is really clean up her free throw shooting and her 3-point perimeter shooting. Now, moving forward, 6th man of the year, I chose from, like I said, my WNBA champion. I'm predicting the Las Vegas Aces, Alicia Clark. She's going to be there again. She'll also contribute. I'm going chalk with that pick. Coach of the year, I'm going Tanisha Wright. I'm hoping that Atlanta does well so that my predictions can come true. and that a lot of people can start paying notice for the Atlanta Dream and everything that they're doing over there. Again, Alicia Gray, Brian Howard, they have Tina Charles, they have a Crystal Dangerfield who they just traded for. They have a complete team, and they're going to do some damage. Coach Wright is going to make sure these women are in a position to do really well. Also, I have, like, as a dark horse favorite for Coach of the Year, Teresa Weatherspoon from the Chicago Sky, who I feel like is going to change life there quickly, especially because of for Q's pick for Rookie of the Year, Angel Reese. She's a defensive menace, and that will only translate on the court to wins. Moving forward, my pick for all WNBA, I'm going chalk. We have Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, Arike Ogunbowale, and then we also have Jewel Lloyd. For my scoring champ, I am going to say Arike Ogunbowale. Why? Because they're going to need her to score with Satu Sabali, who is out right now, and they're going to need to find ways to get the ball into the bucket, into the hole. And Arike does that, like Randy says. She has the ball in a yo-yo. It comes natural to her. She is a clutch queen. So there is no limit to what she's getting ready to go do this season. And tomorrow she's getting ready to go play against Angel. So we should see that as well. My rebounding champ, I already mentioned, is Asia. And my assist leader, funny enough, which is another reason why I picked her as Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. I think she can easily. My assist leader is Caitlin Clark, and I think that she can absolutely overtake Courtney Vandersloot from the assist championship. And just for the simple fact that she passes the ball left and right every single possession. She's not only an aggressive scorer, she's an aggressive passer. She looks for her teammates every single possession. As soon as they put their heads up, is right there. So speaking of rookies, we're going to talk about Angel Reese and how she stepped into the limelight with her stunning Met Gala appearance with a promising debut with the Chicago Sky. We will discuss her dual impact on fashion and in basketball. And because she's already turning heads on and off the court, we delve into this. Do you feel like Angel Reese can define the role of what it is for a modern athlete in the public eye? We can start with you, Q.
I think she absolutely defines what it means to be an athlete in the modern era. As you're just saying, how with her Met Gala appearance and her WNBA preseason debut, one name popped up in my head, and honestly, she Bruce Wayne. Like, she do everything. Like, she fighting crime on the court, and she's showing up to all the galas, all the banquets, like a Bruce Wayne would, catching everyone's head, breaking everyone's. But I also think that she deserves an opportunity from things that we've seen, like her media day versus other people's media day wasn't as, it was lack for better terms. And I really think they don't want to give her an opportunity. That's what it feels like. Part of the reason why I chose her to be Rookie of the Year is I do think she deserves that love. Like me and Randy discussed yesterday, she never let us down. She's a winner on every single level that she's been in so far. So I only expect greatness and the same thing and consistency when she steps on this stage, right? I think she has that ability to step out of just the basketball world into other areas and other worlds and other realms and be a star in those too. Because honestly, a lot of people know who Angel Reese is, but they've never watched a college basketball game.
It's true.
She catches a lot of people's attention, that mesmerizing gaze. I think she can cross over to other realms outside of just basketball, kind of like Allen Iverson, and just be phenomenal in everything she does. I don't think there's anything she can't do.
You going to go right now? I'll chime in the last. If you want me to, I'll go now.
First of all, I will say Q is starting to sound like a lumberjack because he's climbing trees and chopping them down. That's what he sounds like. Giving her some praise. But nah, one thing he said that really like stuck out to me, that Angel Reese doesn't get a fair opportunity. I feel as if she's making a lot of people uncomfortable because she sees herself as a star, she sees herself as a boss, and she's moving in that manner, and it's making some people uncomfortable. And yeah, and one thing I do appreciate and I do enjoy watching her do, not only does she shine on the court, she shines off of it, and she's not allowing anybody to dim that light for her. So if she could do it and show her versatility, why not? Like, she knows what she wants to do. Who are we to say, hey, you can't? Like, absolutely not. So if she can do it, let her. Until otherwise, unless she proves us otherwise, then no. But as LeBron said, put your first, right? Is that what it is? So
Yeah,
as
we got the first things first.
put the first things first. So as long as she's putting the first things first, we have nothing to complain about.
Yep.
And
We
that's
talked
what I
about
was
it the
getting.
other episode. We talked about the other episode. Caitlin can be Larry Bird. She can be Magic Johnson. Magic had the smile. Angel has the eyes.
So what do you expect Angel Reese to do her first game against Dallas, going against the trees that they have? Kalani Brown, Tierra McCowan, and then they also have Natasha Howard, who is a really great defensively.
I expect her to get at least 15, at least 9 rebounds. I expect her to get 2 blocks and 3 steals.
What about a W?
My fault. I thought we were just talking about individual.
No, that's fine too.
numbers.
I'm just curious now.
But I do think if she can do all that, her team does win.
Randy, you got a stat line?
I'm thinking close to the Q's number. I'll give her 16. I'll give her 16 and I'll give her 16, 7, and 6 assists.
Now I got a better question. Oh, my fault.
Oh, I think she's gonna sneak some blocks in there, man. That girl plays with some energy. She plays with passion. And one thing as a defensive player, like if you're defensive minded, you don't want to go against an energy player because they're nonstop. So that means it's gonna be a long night for you. You're gonna do a lot of work. Your feet are gonna have to be active. Yeah, I feel like she's gonna get a few blocks, a few steals, and possibly the W. It depends on the teammates and how they mesh well that first night.
So I was gonna say my initial thoughts. I think Angel Reese is a superstar. I think that, like you mentioned, a lot of people who don't watch basketball, they know who she is. It's just a simple fact that she is similar to Batman, and it's a great analogy. She's a part of the Champagne campaign, which I appreciate. You know, if you're a young person, I'm not young anymore, but if you're a young person, you really do appreciate that the person who could go to X, Y, and Z event and then show up to work and then really have an impact at work. You know, I was never like that. So if I could see people like that, I always admire that, and I think that's awesome. But more so, I think she's bringing attention to the women's game similar to Caitlin. Why? She is the second WNBA player to ever be invited to the Met Gala, and she did that as a rookie. She was in the Lotto video. She's been in public figures. She has several different endorsements. She's with Reebok. She's with X, Y, and Z. She's been doing this since NIL. And Kevin, my fault, I didn't mean to do that. She's with NIL. It's like the WNBA scheduled the perfect foil characters for both Caitlin and Angel. Caitlin is going to have great perimeter defenders. Angel is going to have great interior defenders. Now, I won't say if she doesn't get a double. I expect her to get a double-double, but I won't say if she doesn't get a double-double, then she had a bad game. Because Kalani Brown is serious. Tierra McCowan is serious. They're both of them are up there with league leaders in rebound. And what I was going to say, too, is this preseason, they held the Leah Boston to 8 points and like 6 rebounds. And she's a WNBA all-star. So I'm like, if she's struggling, I'm not saying Angel's going to struggle, but what I do expect is this is what I do expect. I expect her to be scrappy and collect those offensive rebounds. I expect her to get to the free throw line. I expect her to also block shots, as Randy mentioned. And I expect her to just be a menace on the perimeter. I think one thing that's going to go overlooked is her assist also. She's a really good perimeter player, meaning she can pass out of the post. She makes really good decisions on the basketball court. And I feel like she can find open shooters on the court. Now, like I said, going against players like Natasha Howard, going against, guards that are going to challenge her, forwards that are going to challenge her is going to be something else to see. But I'm expecting at least her to score 13 and 10 and maybe 2 blocks. I don't think that's too much, but it could be. But that's kind of what I'm expecting from her in this season. The Met Gala. And speaking about all these high profile events, the WNBA is taking advantage of all of this attention surrounding their league. So right now they're expanding its reach with new teams, better travel arrangements. And the question I wanted to ask is, especially with the news release of the Golden State Valkyries, what does this mean for the future of the league? And how will the WNBA's expansion enhance the league's competitiveness, in addition player welfare?
Growing and adjusting correctly and with the new wave of with this new wave of talent coming into the league and the exposure that's coming to the game with it, they have to grow. They have
Yeah.
to. There's no choice. It's great that the women are now getting chartered flights for all games. It's great that the brand deals are coming in, the shoe deals are coming in because it's been long overdue, honestly. But with the growth of social media, the growth of its presence, TikTok, all that, the power that the social media has, players are more accessible. The different aspects of their lives, different talents. Like people didn't know, like the Chris Bosh thing. We didn't know that he was doing YouTube videos, but if you're not on YouTube, how would you know? But
True.
because now that you could just go on IG, you could do this. It's everything's over your phone. You could just see them through many forms of social media. So it's great. I love it. It's necessary. Like Q said earlier today, it's showing an upward trend, which has been happening.
Amen.
It's also proven that really these women, it's proven to people who were doubters before that these women, they can essentially do everything that the men's league. We just talked about how there's 6'3" women coming down and training videos, throwing the ball down, the brand deals, the endorsements is not just going to stop here. I expect to see it not only hit the shoes, but and for Skims, but I also expect to see it within lotions, perfumes, deodorants, shower soaps, everything. Honestly, because that's how you get people to watch. You see, like for those Old Spice commercials, we done watched Buddy Dion Cole do the same or do similar lavender commercials for the last 3 years. So just imagine if women were to get their own brand of a shower soap or their own shampoo or their own deodorant line or even their own lotion or perfumes and stuff like that. What it would do. Because again, for people who just don't love basketball, a lot of people we fall in love with what we see. And so if we can see the representation, we can see the support. That's what makes people fall in love with the game. It's like with the Skims photo shoot. I got a whole bunch of homeboys who are interested in now in watching the WNBA. When for years prior I've been telling them, "Yo, there are a lot of baddies playing, y'all. Like, there's a lot of beautiful women playing this game, and they can shoot as deep as Steph Curry and Dame Lillard. They got crazy handles. You guys just not watching." So, like I said, upward trend.
I'm a ride the coattail on that statement. The fact that you have women coming down here dunking, the fact that you have women coming down here dunking the game, and they're able to, bring excitement to it. That's like at the end of the day, that's what we watch sports for. We watch sports for big highlights, big events, like something that catches your eye. So the game's growing, the players are getting better, and skill is definitely evident. And the fact that we're able to see that, it's gonna, like you said, it's eye catching, and it's gonna generate a lot of new fans.
Speaking of new fans, go.
And I ain't gonna lie, some of this Valkyrie merch, it's tough. I don't know if you guys looked at it already,
Some of the who?
but
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
loving the violet and black color scheme. Yeah, I'm
when I
not gonna
read
lie, it's tough.
when I read the tweet this morning and I saw when I saw it, I'm like, I clicked it. I'm like, huh? Like, I was like, why are they naming them Valkyries if it's blue and gold? But then that's why I texted you saying it needs to be purple. I don't know where the hell. And then I looked in the video and I'm like, oh, it's purple. This yeah, of course that makes sense. That's what it should be. That was hot. I was like,
A lot of this merch is tough. I'm scrolling through it right now. I've been for like the last 5 minutes. It's really solid.
I was gonna say, speaking of merch, I needed me a Reese jersey. I need me a Clark jersey. I need me a Boston jersey, Smith jersey, Wilson jersey. I'm gonna get a few of them joints, but I need me a few of them. I need me a Jewel Lloyd joint. I get a few of them. All of them. Get all of them joints. Let me get them all. But speaking of team deals, ESPN ranked every single WNBA player from every single team, and they came up with a top 25 preseason list. Now, the question that I ask you is this: as we dive into what makes these athletes elite and their potential based on these games, who do you think will dominate from this WNBA top 25 list? Who do you think might have been left off that should be included? And were there any changes that you might potentially make to this list?
So with these top 25 lists, there's a lot of outcry for them leaving off players like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, but it's hard to put a player who's never played on that level already in the top 25 list. There's a lot of outcry with players like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark missing from this list, but I think from just a respect point, it's really hard to put a player who's never played on the professional level in any sport in the top 25. Yeah, you can make the argument that, these two women or whoever you feel like are going to be left off the list are already top 25, but let's just be respectful and, keep the women who played last year and are preparing and knows what it takes to play on this level into this season. We'll keep them top 25 on based off an initial list. And then once everyone plays, then I think you can reorder the list based off that. As far as with the outcries and having players like Angel Reese and a Caitlin Clark off the list, I understand.
Well, look, Q hit it on the head, hit the nail on the head. Some people might feel the type of way, believing that Caitlin Clark and some other players should be on that list, but we haven't seen them play in a regular season WNBA game. We could call out numbers for the preseason, but just give it some time, and we can go from there. But the lists like that are always skewed because it's not by hoopers, it's by fans.
Media members.
So yeah, media members. So it could, people could always shift up, and some people could shift down because some of those averages. If I'm averaging 22, how is someone with 15 at a higher rate?
Does their impact to winning is better?
I mean, is it really?
Yes. So like Ant-Man, go.
Is this positional or is this all?
No, this is the top 25. It's not by position.
Okay, then you can say the impact of the game, yeah,
because I just to chime in, I understand exactly where you're coming from. And I'll say this: Caitlin Clark should have been on this list. Angel Reese should be an honorable mention on this list, but Caitlin Clark should absolutely be on this list. She's the top 25 player in the league. There's no reason why she's third in MVP odds by Vegas, and she's not a top 25 player in the league. That those two things don't make sense. Just to move forward. Oh, you go. There's a few just to add on. There's a few more things that I would change. If you're telling me who I would take off the list, I'm gonna just start here. Number 24, Candace Parker, who is retired. She could go. I would put her on the list.
Hey.
Now, what's funny? I don't know if y'all peeped this though. I just peeped this. Nalissa Smith is ranked. I already said this. Nalissa Smith, I feel like is a top 25 player. She should be on this list already. Ariel Atkins is a really good player. Kelsey Mitchell, funny enough, she wasn't on this list, and that's simply, I already know, it's simply because they feel like her teammate is better, and we don't know this yet because Kelsey obviously was a WNBA All-Star last year, but from what everybody expects from Kaylin, they expect that to kind of flip-flop. Some other names that I will kind of switch add up. Alicia Gray would be in my top 15. Her and Ryan Howard would be a top 5 player to me, and Alicia Gray would be a top 15, top 10 player. DeWanna Bonner, she kind of moved down just because she's getting a little bit older, but she's still gangster. Don't get it twisted. She's still great. Arike is absolutely a top 7 player in the league. There's no reason why she should be top 15 is disrespectful, truthfully. And I love Aaliyah Boston. There's no way that Arike is worse than Aaliyah right now. Sabrina also should be ranked higher in the top 10. Satu Sabali, she is a top 5 player, but she's just hurt. So that's the only reason why she's not up there right now. She's just been hurt. She's legit. She could do everything. She could do everything on the court. Jewel, you're gonna have to move down a little bit, even though I love you and you're a scoring guard. But other than that, I feel like the top 25 list is pretty accurate. I feel like they needed to do some jumbling around with the order, but they got the names, just not. I don't think they got them in the right order. I love Jackie Young. I love Chelsea Gray. I love Kelsey Plum, but having 3 Las Vegas Aces in the top 10 is not That's not fair. That's not fair to anybody, especially if you rank them and they all play together like that. How can you have a measuring stick of knowing how great they are? Honestly, if they're playing together, you're playing with 4 of the all stars. You're not. Come on now. That's disrespectful. So just to kind of
That's ironic.
wait, what are you gonna say? She's not playing with no other all stars. She's not. If you're talking about
Yeah.
Caitlin, she's not playing with no other. She's got one all star. That's Aaliyah Boston and
How
Kelsey.
can you judge them if she ain't played yet?
That's a good fair point. That's a fair point. How could you? But she's played in the preseason. She had 16 a game. She was up there.
What did they say about in the NBA? What is the preseason?
It means nothing.
Exactly.
It means nothing.
Nothing in the WNBA.
You sound like one of my favorite players, Diana. You sound like Diana Taurasi right now.
Yeah, Big T.
You sound like Diana Taurasi right now. That's funny. All right. Just to, I guess, recently released 2024 WNBA GM survey. Now, this survey had a lot of predictions, but one standout is A'ja Wilson, who is favored to snag her 3rd MVP title and also is touted as the best defensive player. Some of the highlights from this I'll include are, 67% of the votes said that A'ja Wilson is going to win MVP. 92% of the voters said that Caitlin Clark was going to win Rookie of the Year. And additionally, 50% of GMs said that they would choose her to build a team if they had to choose any player in the WNBA to build a franchise around. Chelsea Gray, she earned 6 top spots from the W as the best point guard and the best passer. Her leadership and basketball IQ are also up there. And the GMs think that she could be a future coach. The Indiana Fever was voted as the most improved team, obviously because they got Caitlin, and the Seattle Storm were recognized as having the best offseason additions with Skylar Diggins-Smith and NECA. Standouts from this, Alyssa Thomas from the Connecticut Sun was recognized as the player with the greatest hunger to win a championship. And as I keep saying, they are right at the... And then lastly, it says the Las Vegas Aces are considered the most fun team to watch in the W. They have the best home court advantage. And Becky Hammon is viewed as the best manager or motivator in the WNBA, in addition to being one of the best overall coaches. Guys, I don't know if you had any thoughts on this, but if you'd like to, just initial thoughts on what I just shared. I just want to highlight the fact that Caitlin Clark was voted at 50% as the person that they would want to build around. Now I'm intrigued as to who captured the other 35%. We're gonna do some more information about that, because to me it's either one, Angel, or her. And if you're talking about building, obviously I already know why GMs have decided to rock with Caitlin, is the simple fact that she sold out 13,000 at a preseason game. They're moving arenas. 36 of her games are on national TV. She's a point guard. So at the end of the day, if you're a point guard, you can control a lot, especially because you have the ball in her hands. Another thing I thought was interesting is that all the GMs in the league say A'ja is that person. And that makes me feel great to see that she is getting the recognition overnight, essentially, because she has been kind of overlooked for a long period of time. So the fact that they're able to just tout her up and say that this is the person from the W that we need to go see, that's awesome. Just even Stewie winning MVP last year. So, and there's no slight to Stewie. She's been an awesome player. But it's just really great to see that A'ja is really kind of getting the love that we feel like she deserves. And we're not yet.
You pretty much just said it all for me.
Yeah. A'ja's getting her flowers, her well-deserved flowers. A lot of highlights of her working on both ends. But again, big names brings big money. So I see why, certain GMs wanted to build around Caitlin Clark. But also, you cannot sleep on Angel Reese. Once a winner, always a winner. It's in her blood. It's all she knows. So be careful.
It's true. I think she's going to change a lot, especially Coach Weatherspoon. They're going to change times in Chicago. But now I have a better question. This is a better question. Who do you think will win a championship first between Angel and Caitlin this year? Who will have a better record this year?
Chicago.
Yeah. Chicago and Angel.
I'm obviously going Indiana. I'm going Indiana. They have
too much. We know.
We know.
They got more talent on their roster.
We know.
We know. You've been drinking that Flint water.
They got more talent. So, but that's a better. And then I don't know if I think that Indiana will win a championship before Chicago, though. I don't know that part, but I do. I think that this year Indiana will have a better record than Chicago will. That I can confidently say. She has more talent. She has more talent on her team than Chicago does.
Is it the same 4 year? Once you're a rookie, was it 2-year deal or a 3-year deal for the WNBA?
What are you talking about?
What's
What's the rookie year deal, Lee? How many years?
for the WNBA?
Let's find that out together. Let's find that out together. I couldn't tell you. So let's find that out together. Rookie year deals.
Because
Why you
that's
think-
going to both. I say that because whether it's 3 years
It's
or 4
4 years, though, by the way. It's 4 years.
4 years, figured. So, Caitlin has 4 years to grow her game and get her James Harden on, basically.
You
And
think
that's no slight to her teammates, but she has 4 years to really develop with the green light around her. Now, team-wise,
you're saying that she's gonna have to play in a team for 4 years and it's gonna help her develop winning habits.
yeah, team-wise, I feel as if Chicago has the best opportunity now. They have a really, really good paint presence, and 4 years is enough time to really, you get 2 picks, and it can really change your team. You can make some trades. It can really
Like a
change
number
it.
one pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the number one because typically number one goes to the worst team. So,
But I'm
we'll
saying
see.
like a number one pick would change the team's franchise, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
But
Of course.
Chicago has a good defensive presence. They just have to figure it out and coach up. They have more pieces to coach up. Let's say that.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That what you just said is very true. Yes, they do. They have more young talent than Indiana does. But Indiana's like they have a good roster too. But yes, they do.
No, it's no slight to the roster. It's no slight to the roster, but the numbers don't. The numbers don't lie. Like, can all those ladies play? Absolutely. But when you look at the pieces and the opportunity, Chicago just simply has more.
And speaking of more, we're gonna have more episodes coming for you weekly. This is She Shoots, She Scores, episode 3. Q, if y'all want anything to say, Randy, we out. We here. Closing thoughts, no?